something bad to us, we are going to do things to you that have never been done before.
We the people tell the government what to do. It doesn't tell us. We the people are the driver. The government is the car. And we decide where it should go and by what route to do. We the people are free. And I hope we have once again reminded people that man is not free unless government is limited.
Well, how you going, folks? Might turn my light on. You'll see me a little clearer, maybe. If that's probably a fairly shocking sight to you, I apologise. Trust you're doing well. It's Friday. It's persistingly raining outside at the moment, I can tell you. Don't know if you can hear it through the microphone, but it is quite solid. Don't think it's going to last terribly long. But rain in my part of the world is the least of people's worries. There is a lot of rain in various other parts of the world. We'll talk about some of that this evening because it's going to affect one of us. Before we get into the people that it's going to affect, let's bring up the waving wonder because he's one of the people it's going to affect. How are you, buddy?
Well, this is Manham, mate. I don't know how much effect we're actually going to get, to be honest.
Well, can I bring this up for you? The thing that the Weather Bureau is predicting with all this rain that's coming down through Central Australia is that they're trying to flood the Murray or in parts of it. And I don't know, you live on the Murray. What sort of chances of this happening? Is this likely to be a thing?
No. I heard 130 mil, maybe at max at the best of places. That's not enough to put enough water back into the Murray to flood it. Not like we had the real floods. That needs to come from deeper up in the States through Victoria, etc. So no.
So you're not expecting that that floodplain that sort of extends from Western Queensland down through Western New South Wales to come down and hit the Murray-Darling and then wind up
wrong
washing
direction,
its way past your door.
Yeah, the wrong direction.
Oh, well, right. Yeah. Fair point.
Well,
Fair point.
That's like that way and the other one's that way. So
Yeah, all right. I'll get it right. All right. Well, before we move on to nice things, I'm going to move on to a horrible thing that is going to have what some may term a nice outcome. Last night, I introduced you to Mr. Stevens and Mr. Andrews. These are the two absolute morons who abducted a gentleman and took him off, 85 years old, wound up killing him, but not before they tortured him. Wound up cutting one of his fingers off with a handsaw. Now, these two extremely high criminal intellects were caught fairly easily. I mean, the only thing they didn't leave at the scene was their wallet. It was beyond stupid. They couldn't figure out how to burn a car properly. And from the car that they used to abduct this gentleman in, they found a cigarette butt with DNA on it. They found blood. They found carpet squares. They found all sorts of things. They found stuff that tracked back to the house in Dural there. Unbelievable. So using good police detective work, I guess they managed to track it all back, find out who was who in the zoo. And as you know, these two mongrels got locked up yesterday and had to face a bit of a hearing yesterday. I found out today that a number of Sydney's best barristers, criminal barristers, have been approached by the bloke on the right, that fella, his parents. He comes from a very, well, I don't know if they're very wealthy, but they are a fairly well-to-do family. They're a trucking family, and they live in a reasonable house. Apparently, they have tried to secure the best legal defense for their son as they possibly can, and they've got a few bucks to do it, obviously. But my understanding is there are no takers in the top law firms. The Beaks are not going to go in and take up one of these cases, which appears to be at this point in time anyway, a lay-down misere for a flogging if you're on the defence side. But stranger things have happened in criminal cases and bigger criminals have got off. The other thing to remember too is that these two are just, Dumb and Dumber, who executed very poorly a set of orders that were handed out. Now, who issued those orders and who supplied the address? Who gave those details to Dumb and Dumber? Those are questions that are being answered right now, but not necessarily, I don't think, in the police stations of New South Wales. The criminal underworld of New South Wales has come out in the last 24 hours and made it very clear that those two gentlemen, should they be convicted of this crime, will not live to see out their sentence. They have made this an open statement. To abduct what they term a civilian, and an elderly civilian at that, is a mistake, but it was a mistake that could have been rectified. It was very, very, very early on in the piece that police started reporting that it was a case of mistaken identity, that Dumb and Dumber had gone and extracted somebody from a street that did have family members of a reputed Sydney underworld crime family living on it. Now, that house was apparently 3 doors away from the old bloke who had his door kicked in, and these two idiots stormed in, along with another person, I think there were 3, then dragged him out to the car and took him off. Now, there is no suggestion that any of the family of the crime syndicate member, supposed alleged crime syndicate member, are involved in any criminal activity or anything like that. It's, in fact, his parents. So they are quite elderly. But you can see that somebody decided to go and kidnap an elderly gentleman, presumably the father of this underworld person, and hold him for ransom. And they got the wrong bloke. Wow. That's not good. That's not
So
good.
why?
Sorry?
So if the underworld crime family didn't get touched, why are they coming out to get them?
Because they had the opportunity to give him up, to let him walk away. Okay? It didn't have to turn, because this sort of a crime makes professional criminals look really, really bad. All right? They wouldn't.
Sorry.
Well, professional criminals don't go around slaying civilians.
True.
If you are being shot by an underworld killer, you are likely involved somewhere in the game. You've done a deal. You've sold drugs and haven't given the money back. You've done something to attract their attention, right? But in this case, this poor old bugger was just a civilian, and the two fools that took him had the opportunity to let him go. Just put him out on a street corner somewhere and let him go when they realized they'd made the mistake. And they must have realized fairly early on, as I say, the police were onto it right from the word go, that he was not the person they were looking for. And they tried to get that out through all the Sydney media outlets as early, because he was abducted at 5 o'clock in the morning. And I know that certainly the ones I've spoken to, but I assume every of the FM radio stations had been contacted by 6 a.m. to make sure they had it in the news saying there is a case of mistaken identity. He's been abducted accidentally or incorrectly. So this makes professional criminals, the real underworld, the real criminals, look very, very bad. And at the moment, those real criminals are suffering a bit of a crisis of their own. As I spoke last night, people are hiring children, these idiots, to go and do jobs. This job apparently worth $35,000 each. Whether that's to 2 people or to 3 or 4, I don't know, but $35,000 each. But that was renegotiated because there was some trouble with it in the end, down to $30,000. Well, if they got paid for it, I'd be amazed. In fact, I wouldn't be at all surprised to find it was big crime syndicates in Sydney that help police find these locations, like the property in Dural and that kind of thing, because they don't abide this kind of crap. Believe it or not, big criminals have a code of honor. And
no, I believe they do. Yeah.
Yeah, you don't. They don't trouble civilians, and if you attract attention to their business that way, you pay a price. And now that price will not only be paid by those two tards inside a jail, but there will be recriminations on the streets of Sydney, because those orders came from someone. And that someone isn't currently locked up safely in a segregated cell somewhere in Sydney. And because this statement has been made quite openly, those blokes are going to go into protection immediately. And as one of the videos that I watched today put it about protection in New South Wales jails, there are cemeteries all over the state filled with pedophiles who were safe in protective custody when they died. And they didn't die from old age.
Slightly different set of circumstances on that, because we all know what the justice system inside is about kiddly fiddlers. So,
well, the thing about justice inside is that it's real justice, and it doesn't just focus on kiddie fiddlers. They also take, believe it or not, just as dim a view of civilians being involved in matters, particularly senior citizens, old people, that have no skin in the game at all. They take it very, very, very poorly. So, no, rest assured, there are plenty of blokes behind those walls that these blokes are going to go behind, who are never getting out, who are in there for life sentences now. What's another death or two? No problem. It'll mean someone in their family gets looked after really well on the outside for the rest of their lives. That's all it'll mean.
Yeah, I mean, but there's also plenty of people that are in those jails who have just gone out and hurt civilians. That's how come they're in there in the first place. So,
well, they're a different kind of crim. They're a different kind of crim, right? Yeah. A crime of property stealing or something like that is not the same as kidnapping an international criminal syndicate's alleged member's father and holding him for a $50 million ransom while cutting pieces of him off. You see the scale difference?
Too gruesome for me as far as I'm concerned. But
yeah,
as far as those two guys are concerned, they deserve what they get.
Oh, couldn't agree more. Could not agree more.
It's actually one of the comments that have been coming out in the interviews I've been doing with some of the pollies, and I've got some more lined up at the moment. And a lot of them is there's been too much soft crime. So, when they do, well, as one said, you do the crime, you do the time, and that's the way they want to run it. So, so that's the One Nation and Liberal. Yeah.
So,
very interesting, guys.
To so far? Give yourself a plug.
Yeah, I was just going to do that. So come and jump on to the Freedom Broadcasting Network, FBN at fbnmedia.online in YouTube, and we also have our Rumble channel. We're also putting them up on TikTok, Facebook, so you can go and like us on Facebook. The sooner we get 100 people likes for our FBN Media channel on Facebook, the sooner we can live stream it straight to that as well. But there's a lot more to come on that. It's the same 16 questions, the little variances here and there, but the idea is you get a chance to see what the pollies are promising. And I still got to nail our mayor here, Simone. I think she may have turned her mayor's phone off, so I'm going to have to try and contact her another way because she's been flat out doing stuff. Labor is really pushing hard in this election. I'm seeing it around the traps, lots of ads, lots of bits and pieces. The Liberals, I thought was very interesting. This arrived, hang on, let me find it. Or did I get so up threw it away? No, this one, I'll see if it will show up. This one arrived from the Liberal Party, and it's all about don't waste your vote on independents. So they're trying to knock the independents out at the moment as well.
Right. Okay.
Really interesting. That's a piece of pamphlet that's come out. So
latest polling out of South Australia says Malinowskis is going to run rampant and win by a proverbial mile, and that the Liberals will be decimated to a point where One Nation will be the opposition, with the majority share in any union that they have coming together going forward. What do you think?
Maybe that's what I'm hearing here as well. I mean, I spent today in Adelaide, and so now it's Adelaide, so I'm exhausted. But one of the things I did notice there, I had to go to see my sister, who is happily recovering, which is great. And there's massive heaps of building and works happening at that location, which is a hospital area. Mount Barker, went to Mount Barker drop someone else off for appointment because I was chief taxi today, and there's massive buildings happening at the Mount Barker Medical Centre over there as well. So there is lots happening in that medical area that I think Labor is responsible for. So they may, in fact, do quite well in the election. Do I agree with all their laws that they've put out? No. But right, I think they have a fairly strong showing, and I'm trying to be as neutral as possible. That's not where my ideals land, but I think they will do fairly well. And as long as they don't win every seat, I'm going to be somewhat happy, because that could be an issue. Can you imagine all 47 seats of the South Australian government all being owned by Labor? Where's the opposition? There is none. Right?
None.
That would be disgusting.
Mm.
So, people of South Australia, that can't happen. So choose your preferences wisely. Right?
Yep. And you'll be doing a preferential voting lecture before the election, I'm sure. You can't use marbles. I think Topher Field has a copyright on using marbles. You may have to use ping pong balls or something. So
no, I'm actually going to. We're going to do a couple at my place, Manham, and it's a non-partisan type thing. Just shows how preferentials work, and I'm just going to literally do it using 100 sheets of paper.
Yeah, right.
Right. So, and showing how the votes will move and how the two preference thing works out and why they call it so early. That's what I'm going to show for the Legislative House. And I'm going to show the difference it makes when you take that 100 people with 100 pieces of paper and you take away 16 of them because they didn't bother to vote. Because that's 16%. That's what happened in the last federal election. So toilet paper. What? Yeah, I like that. Toilet. Yeah, I should use toilet paper.
That's exactly the way to do it.
Idea. What? I like that one.
Yeah. That's exactly how it will be done. Ah, yeah. Right. Very good. Write that down. Do not forget it. That's very good.
Yeah.
Hey,
but I'm hoping I'll record that and maybe throw it up on FBN as well.
Yeah, beautiful. Now, you're the IT guru in the family here. I'm going to bring this up to begin with. Commonwealth Bank has called police because there's been a $1 billion fraudulent loan scam put through using AI into their banking systems. Now, it's also yesterday that the Commonwealth Bank announced they would be sacking 2,000 Australian-based staff because AI will be taking over. They also announced, not here in Australia, but in India, they're looking for 100 IT professionals based in India to augment their AI team based in India. And do you find that just a little funny? They sacked 2,000 people and AI is taking over, and the next day there is a front page headline that says AI helped people steal $1 billion from the Commonwealth Bank.
So I have two issues here. Commonwealth Bank became its own entity, used to be the Commonwealth Bank of the people. Right, so that's issue number one. Number two, what the fuck are they doing employing people overseas? It's supposed to be an Australian bank. Sorry.
Oh, well, they only made $5.69 billion half yearly profit announced last week.
And they're sacking
$5.6 billion half yearly profit.
Yeah.
But they've got to sack more Australians.
I haven't dealt with the Commonwealth Bank. I learned a long time ago that their fees were exorbitant and their policies were shit. So
yes,
that's my personal opinion, by the way, just in case you want to sue me.
Yeah, I found them as thieves at an early age too, bastards.
But effectively, AI is going to be a disastrous thing over the next 5 years. We could probably sit here for the rest of this show and name jobs out there, and I can pretty much guarantee that a lot of those we would name will go because of AI.
Another one has announced, not an Australian company, but this is a company owned by Jack Dorsey, and has been running for some years a significant. What's it called? I'm just going to try and find the story quickly. I'll bring it up. Blocks is the name of the business. It's parent company of Afterpay. And it's cutting nearly half its workforce from a bit over 10,000 people, to a bit under 6,000 people.
Yep.
All because of the AI they have developed for their own company. Now, isn't it funny? We look at these AI, we look at these IT specialists, these computer programmers, and we say, "Oh, by geez, they have
programmed themselves out of a job."
Well, no, they're very smart. They're very intelligent people. They couldn't see they were programming themselves out of work.
Yeah, exactly.
Out of the future. Not just programming themselves out of work, programming their career out of existence. It does. The job title won't exist anymore. I wonder if any of them are feeling stupid now.
There are so many. I was thinking about today. We're doing some pretty wonderful T-shirts at our merch store, which yours truly, who is not an artist, right, has managed to design. Now, I do have a wonderful graphic artist in my family, my daughter, one of my daughters. She is absolutely
She hates us, though.
Right? But I can do that on AI in 5 minutes. Who's going to pay her to do something?
Yeah.
There's one job gone. So that's graphic artists gone straight away. So that whole industry is now going to get destroyed by AI. Right?
Yeah.
Programming is going to get destroyed by AI. Right? Fixing computers, just ask AI. That's gone. Right? So what else is there? Well, we've got cars that are driving around as taxis. That's done by AI. So there's all the taxi drivers gone. Just pick a thing. I mean, other than carpentry or a plumber or something along that requires a physical hands-on thing, anything that doesn't, like every single secretary, they'll be gone.
Well, it's just as
where
well.
AI is going.
It's just as well that somebody is planning ahead for this AI invasion, because as you are identifying, as we are all identifying, there is so much AI content being delivered daily to our electronic devices. And some of it is very, very, very good and very hard to tell that it is AI. Some of the AI content that is being delivered is 100% quality content. The information it's delivering is worth listening to and worth knowing. But a lot of the content that is being delivered has no real relevant information other than spreading lies. And as you said before with the Carl thing, with the Carl Stefanovic thing and the Prime Minister, There are some people who will look at that and say, oh, they must be the outtakes that Channel 9 didn't put on because they don't understand Stefanovic's doing a private podcast and he would never put up outtakes with the Prime Minister. But anyway, so isn't it great that somebody is thinking forward about that and is developing the Australian Trust Authority? Do you like the sound of that?
Yeah, right.
Let me share the Australian Trust Authority with you. Here's the about them. Our mission, the Australian Trust Authority, was established in 2028 by the federal government. Our mission is to safeguard digital trust by empowering Australians to navigate an era of pervasive AI-generated content. We provide transparent, real-time guidance on digital platforms, trustworthiness, dedicated to maintaining a reliable baseline of truth online. The challenges we face. Generative AI has driven an explosion of autonomously created online content and services, leading to a widespread degradation in digital quality and reliability. As most AI services originate offshore, traditional regulation is ineffective. The ATA was formed to help Australians discern truth in this new reality, focusing on empowerment over prohibition. How we operate. This is where it gets interesting. The ATA operates on 3 pillars: monitor, assess, and advise. We monitor AI content trends and our truth oracles. Told you it was getting interesting. Our truth oracles meticulously assess individual artifacts, that is, online content, to determine their origin, human or AI. This data generates hourly digital content advice levels displayed on public signage. We collaborate closely with the ACCC, the ASD, and the AFP to support consumer protection. Would you like to see one of those signs? That's what the sign looks like. Would you like to see what it looks like with its little monitor? That's it today at Franklin Square in Tasmania. I want to thank Black Sheep because Black Sheep did a little run for me today after I was advised by Katrina, who's in the chat, her other half, about this rather strange phenomenon and signs popping up around Tassie. Now, Katrina's hubby, Justin, is this brilliant photographer. He's got an amazing hot rod book out, which I haven't got close at hand to show you some pictures of. It is one of the best hot rod books ever. If you want a copy of it, I believe it's been going into a second print. There are so many people who are keen on it. Email me. I'll hook you up so you can get in contact with that. But at any rate, he's the one who put me onto this, and Black Sheep happened to be out and about on the motorbike today, so I sent him on a bit of a trek, and he happily popped around and gave us a bit of a look. This is the one at Salamanca Markets. So there are 2 of them within a fairly short area, and you can see the sign there is popping up showing, now what have I done here? I haven't loaded up the sign that tells you what all that is saying. So hang on a second, let me try.
Although while you're busy chasing that up, I have to love the fact that it's very analog. Somebody's going to go up and turn the knob.
I said the same thing. But it's not. It's Wi-Fi.
It's Wi-Fi? I haven't seen anything for it that says that yet.
No, Paul, Black Sheep went and had a look because he had the same thing, and he swears it's Wi-Fi. So Wi-Fi controlled. Our vision, we envision an Australia where citizens are confident and capable in the digital world, able to identify and navigate AI-generated content. The ATA strives to foster a discerning and resilient online community, ensuring that what's real online matters and that trust can still be found. And there's an email address to go and check it out. Now, if you go to news, you will see Launceston prepares for digital content service signage, January 28. Franklin Square installs, and these are the 2 places I've shown you. It's being rolled out in Victoria, apparently, and in certain parts of the ACT and some parts of Western Australia. This, down the bottom of the news, is interesting because if you remember the first line of the abouts, which we're not there anymore, It says that this thing was launched in 2028. So here is the launch announcement, October 2025. The Australian federal government today announced the formation of the Australian Trust Authority, a new department tasked with addressing the growing challenge of AI-generated online content. The Prime Minister indicated the ATA will focus on helping Australians navigate a digital landscape increasingly saturated with autonomously created information and tools. The ATA's primary mandate is to establish a national framework for assessing content veracity. This initiative acknowledges the limitations of regulating offshore AI services and instead aims to empower consumers. The authority will develop systems to provide transparent guidance on the trustworthiness of digital products and services. Now, Vincenzo, what does that mean to you? Bearing in mind, I'm sorry, I'm skipping a salient point here. Bearing in mind that if we put on our cabal hat, we have to tell them what we do to them before we do it to them.
True. All right. I have a couple of things I want to say on that, but you just bring out what you think first.
No, I've done all the research. You tell me what you're thinking.
All right. So the funny thing about this is that they're going to use AI to determine AI. So that's the first part about it. Secondly, the massive amount of processing power that would be required to look at every artifact that lands on the web every single minute of the day would be humongous. Thirdly, we did a bit of research on this on the way to Adelaide this morning, and we determined that it is .au site is not a government website because it doesn't have a .gov.au on it.
Well, the government haven't announced it yet. It doesn't do that until October 25, 2028.
Well, so you reckon that's October 25, 2028? Sorry, I missed that bit.
Well, that it says federal government unveils Australian Trust Authority to combat digital disinformation. They didn't do that on October 2025 or 2024 or 2023.
Yeah, but do you trust that to be truthful?
Oh, Vince, you're showing your discernment skills. And it's not a matter about trusting whether it's truthful. Isn't there some kind of a logic hiccup when I tell you that this thing was established in and listen to the wording. I'll go back and put it back up on the.
I picked it up earlier today as well
on the front page.
But
listen to the wording. The Australian Trust Authority was established in 2028. That is the first part by the federal government. First line. Was established in 2028. Now, if I go to news and scroll down the bottom, federal government unveils Australian Trust Authority to combat digital disinformation, October 25. So that must mean October 2025. October 25, 2028 is when they propose to launch this.
Unless there's a typo at the top and that's the wrong date.
No, there is no typo.
Well, it's certainly not in the future, and it's not someone come back from the future to tell us. So, I mean, yeah. Okay. I personally, it's an interesting concept, and I love the signs that's like fire danger will be. Right. Fire danger signs are probably more useful than one of those, to be honest. Right, because at least they're telling you the truth about the fire danger here. How do you determine just how much crap, misinformation, AI integration has occurred on any single day at any given moment, considering that anything can be created, put out, and done in half a millisecond? And
could be
and
done.
You're not pointing to what's false. You're just saying it exists. You're not pointing to what's false, are you?
But what if you were pointing to something that was false? Will this AI be able to discern the difference between the verbiage used or the overall tone delivered. Well, and
there's
I've
like
probably. I'm sorry,
documents
keep
that
going.
are being taught by like now where they're using Google Docs, etc. For instance, to actually check students' work when they're submitting assignments. I think I talked about this before. And they're using the AI to go through the Google Docs to determine if it's been written by the student using obviously characteristics of speech, typing speeds, etc., and so on, or whether it's been generated by an AI device. So that's part of what they're using to grade with. The other part that I've got with that too, which I'm probably going to talk about tomorrow night on CoinSpot with Mark, if I can ever collar him and if I'm finally available, because we've missed it for 3 weeks, is that there's a business opportunity here that's no one
There is a significant business opportunity here. However, we haven't actually approached what I think is the lurgy in the loom.
All right, let's get back to the lurgy.
Trust Oracle.
Yeah, that's just a massive Oracle database and information learning system. That's not uncommon. There's lots of Oracles around.
So we'll be trusting our learning to AI.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Yeah, it's AI looking after AI, mate.
This is what you get when you go to the jobs page. The Australian Trust Authority is building a nationwide network of individuals dedicated to defending truth in the digital age. As AI-generated content rises, our truth oracles are a vital line of defense, distinguishing human-created content from autonomous digital output. This is a unique opportunity to contribute directly to national digital integrity. What is a truth oracle? A truth oracle meticulously reviews artifacts or online content, like news articles, social media, and websites. Your primary task is to discern whether content originates from generative AI or a human. Truth oracles use a specialized game-like interface, contributing real-time data and forms the national digital content advice levels displayed publicly. So it's saying that it is like you're playing a video game here as a truth oracle, and your answers, I presume, with any others doing the same sort of thing, go to where that needle's going to go in the display. Why this role matters. The proliferation of AI-generated services degrades digital trustworthiness. By joining the ATA, you directly participate in a groundbreaking effort to restore and maintain digital truth. Your work empowers consumers, supports government agencies, and strengthens Australia's resilience against disinformation. That indicates to me that it's a human doing the truth oracling, not AI. Would you agree? How to apply?
That is what that tends to suggest, yes. Right.
The ATA maintains a local Truth Oracle office, often co-located with knowledge institutions like museums. For opportunities in Tasmania, please present yourself in person during business hours to the Tasmanian Museum and Art Gallery in Dunn Street, I think it says, in Tassie. And if I must have removed them in my haste as well. I was going to bring it up and show you exactly where that is. Oh, there it is on a Google map. So that'll give you an idea, if you know Hobart at all, where the Tasmanian Museum is. So you are to apply in person at the Tasmanian Museum and Art Gallery. So today I sent Black Sheep off to the Tasmanian Museum and Art Gallery to apply to become a truth oracle. He's a bloody legend. He is a bloody legend, this bloke. Folks, he doesn't get in the chat very often, but please share the love with Black Sheep, because I pick up the phone and I've asked him for all sorts of things to help me out with over the time. I've known him and he has never said no to me. He is a wonderful bloke. He, we all suffer from our own demons, and he's got one or two of them, haven't we all? But God love him. he has gone out to help us today discover the truth about what all this is. So he fronted up at the museum and basically said, "Oh, I want to be a truth oracle." And so they pointed him in the direction of a display, a show, an exhibition put on at that Tasmanian museum by this bloke, Johnny Scholes, and the Department of Truth. This is what Johnny looks like. Lovely bloke. He's a well-known Tasmanian artist, and he has done some work for this particular museum before. He's also done work for the other museum in Hobart, the satanic one I like to refer to it as, Mona or MoMA, FOMA, and all the dark FOMA and mofo and bloody, it's a filthy, rotten, horrible. Yeah. But at any rate, he's done some work for the devil worshippers in Hobart as well. At this point in time, though, if you go in, you'll be walked into a darkened room and you'll be sat in front of a computer where you will see the kind of videos you get on YouTube, doom scrolling. And you will be asked to decide which one is real and which one isn't. There are 5 of them per reel that you sit down and do. Black Sheep tells me he did half a dozen of them or so, and said you could sit there and do them all day. But I guess what it's trying to do with that is the people that go through and contribute by playing that walk-through video game. And that's what he said. It's like playing a video game. You've got to walk through and interpret different pieces of information as you come upon them. And it's in a post-apocalyptic world. So interesting now that we may be going to war with Iran, or the Yanks might be going to war with Iran, at least over the weekend. That could be another catalyst for what's happening on Sunday, Monday. I think it's more likely that the gold, silver, or particularly the big silver issues are going to be the catalyst for the crash on Monday or Sunday, Monday that we were talking about last night. But it could be something like that. At any rate, back to this. If you go and sit down at those computers, and they are going to be set up in various towns and cities around Australia, this is going to be a touring exhibition to a point where parts of it will be set up in Canberra, in Queanbeyan. I believe it's going to be set up in various parts of Melbourne, a couple of places in New South Wales. And everybody who goes through will be contributing to the overall believability scale on here. So use caution, be skeptical, assume inaccuracy, presume deceit, and stay offline. It's that bad. So aside from it raising some rather interesting forward projection questions, I believe it to be an art installation more than a projection of what is going to happen to us in the future. Although I fully believe that our e-safety commissioner could look this up, and the link is in the description of the show, folks, trustauthority.au. And with Vince's help this morning, I went through the back end of that quite considerably. We know a great deal about Johnny Scholes today, can I tell you? I know more about the man than I ever thought I'd ever know. And I also know he's not replying to emails. So yes, if you come across that in Victoria, New South Wales, ACT, or Tasmania, take a picture, let us know, and go and do it. Let us know what it's like.
Help train the AI.
Help train the AI. That's exactly what
That's
it's
what
doing.
You're doing. If there was such a thing, if he was using a proper Oracle database system, and not just human oracles, which is right, you'd be helping train the AI on what is and what isn't, and what people see and what they don't see. So just that, and that's one opportunity where you can get some work. Okay, obviously not paid from the looks of it, but there's another point here, because there's so much of this ability to imitate real people nowadays and have them say what you want them to say, etc. So on. How are people going to be able to determine what's the real video? Is this really a Carl and Vince doing a show tonight? Is this a real video? Right.
And this is going to be our biggest issue going forward. How are people going to discern? I mean, they can't discern right from wrong now, most of them. How the hell are they going to discern truth from fiction?
Yep. And you're frozen, Carl.
Okay.
Right. So you can keep speaking. You're okay. Your speaking is fine and you're just sitting there. Oh, no, you're back. You're looking wondrously up into the air.
That's because I was trying to be a bit sneaky and edit a photo that I want to show you. It was one I thought I'd sucked in earlier, but hadn't edited. So the breakdown on these conditions, if you like. So that tells you what those conditions will be, if you like. Use caution, navigate with awareness, maintain a healthy degree of skepticism, double-check sources for important information, be mindful of generic or repetitive content patterns. Be skeptical, question everything, assume moderate risk of AI-generated content, prioritize trusted news sources, sending you back to mainstream media, cross-reference facts before accepting them, consider it if content feels human-authored. Some people wouldn't know the difference between human authored and if a bloody mouse wrote it. Assume inaccuracy. Proceed with extreme caution. Actively assume much content is inaccurate. Verify all critical information independently. Be wary of sensationalized or manipulative content. I would go so far as to say we'd probably get that rating. Presume deceit. Minimize online engagement. Assume content is likely intentionally misleading. Drastically reducing reliance on general online sources. Stick to verified, known human curated platforms. Be extremely vigilant about scams or fraud. And finally, disengage from social media or the digital world. Highest risk level, pervasive, harmful AI content. The safest option is to avoid online activity altogether. Rely on real-world interactions and trusted offline sources. I think it has some good intentions to it from that.
There's some good advice in that. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
I do have one thing to say. Where's the little coloured one chart that says everything's okay?
I should go and get
that
the
wasn't
Hitchhiker's
there.
Guide.
Everything in that chart was negative. Good advice, but everything was negative. There's nothing there to say, yep, that one's okay.
Isn't the first one, use caution? That's sort of positive, isn't it?
Well,
maintain a healthy degree of skepticism. That's probably not
we
too
all got
positive.
that now. Tell me who doesn't have that now. Well, I suppose 50% of the population.
Anybody
anyway.
who asks ChatGPT or Google for an answer to a question, I suggest.
Oi, watch it. I do that all the time. But,
yeah, well, I'm doing it a bit too.
There is no positive, right? And you got to think about it. It's every single video, every single post, every single voice, every single written word, right? Every picture can be done by AI now today. And it is, in the last year, it has progressed so much. And tomorrow night, after I do a little bit more investigation, as I was saying, there's a business opportunity here. And I think that the content creators are going to take an opportunity to use this, and that is sort of like they did with digital rights, DRMs.
So I have a very dear friend. Who came up with an app that allowed all creators to digitally watermark their work.
Correct.
It's an app called Zidget. Now, I don't know if it's still going, but she certainly owns it all still and could be brought back up. I would think that would enable content creators, if they were to load their content, log their content with Zidget, it's automatically verifiable then as a if you like, real content creator, not an AI generated one. But you and I, if we were better using those AI video generators, we would be generating all sorts of content, putting words onto characters or words into characters' mouths to help reiterate the points we use. Now, is that mis or disinformation, or is that just using our tools or the tools available to us to better try and educate our audience?
I think you have to draw a bit of a line in there somewhere. I mean, if we put words into somebody else's face, I think that's bad. Right?
Okay.
Because it's not them that said it.
So
might be true words. They may well be true words. But if you're going to say something, be honest enough to use your own face. Unless you're making it a cartoon or a characterization or something like that.
Yes.
But don't take another influencer's face and rearrange the words to suit your message. That's just outright wrong. Right?
I'm going to 100%. You are 100% right. I would agree with that. I'm going to throw a link into the chat right now. I'm sorry, folks, it's not in the description. Unless we can I figure out how to change that later, Vince? Can I add this?
Yeah, we can edit that and chuck it in afterwards.
Okay. So I'm going to throw this up into the chat right now. This is a link to a YouTube channel. It's a if you're into gold and gold hunting and watching and rushing and all that sort of stuff, pardon me, you'll be familiar with a bloke called Dave Turin. He's got a new show out which is entirely AI generated. He tells a story as a particular part of the historic gold mining history of America, and the entire thing is AI generated. This is the way that a lot of content is going to go in the future, because you don't have to pay actors, you don't have to pay cameramen, you don't have to pay crews. You just tell a machine to build it, and it builds it. So if you want to see just how good that sort of production can be, go and check that out. It's AI, and if you like that cartoonish or semi-cartoonish look that I remember, the first sort of AI-ish, cartoonish kind of semi-reality thing I remember is a movie called Beowulf or something like that, which was drawn, for the want of a better term. Never thought it was much good anyway, but now this is really improved. But this will give you an idea of just how good it is. There is also the latest one, which I only watched this morning. It's only runs about 15 minutes. It's pretty easy to listen when you're doing the dishes or something. And the story today was about how gold saved the Revolutionary War and won the revolutionists the war, and where that gold came from. And interestingly, that gold came from a Jewish fella who was born in Poland and came out to the New World to make a new life for himself. Became very, 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 very wealthy indeed. He was a double agent, if you like. He worked for both sides to keep himself alive, certainly at one point, and then became a very, 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 very wealthy man to the tune of what today would be $60 million worth. And he gave it all back to the revolution in the form of gold. He funded them. That's how he managed to keep them alive. But that story will be told, and there's a few interesting little links in there if you want to learn about precious metals and the history of that, and why what's happening at the moment is in the real precious metals market so interesting. False flags have all used AI for ages. Yep. There is some suggestion that half the stuff you saw coming out of the American Congress on the day that the supposed riot took place there, when Trump said they were all marching down, and they all filed through the Congress and had to look very politely, the fellow with the horns and all that. There is AI generated content out now suggesting that all that was AI generated, all green screened, all done from a second studio somewhere and punched in Don't believe a word of it. So yeah, there's AI is going to be the biggest challenge that we have going forward, because eventually someone like that e-safety commissioner is going to have to stand up and say, we need to figure out the shit from the truth here, because we're being, the amount of shit AI that can be produced in minutes. All right. They see a story on a news service, a newswire that pops up, and people can regenerate those stories into AI schlock within minutes and have not one story, but 10, 12, 15. The Asian guy that so many of those people following Silver at the moment, he's got 27 channels. Would you be disappointed to learn that the Asian guy comes out of India?
No, not at all. That wouldn't surprise me. And shout out to AJM Pipe Master. Thank you for the $10.
Yes. Thank you. So, yeah, India is where the Asian guy and the market watcher and the bloody this and the that and the other thing and the 27 other names he goes by, they're all generated out of India. So there's an Indian AI, presumably programmed by a bunch of Indians, generating an Asian guy with an American accent pretending to be in New York, telling us about what's going on with the silver world.
Yep. And
a lot of cases you can't fault his information.
Right most of the time as well.
I know.
But, yeah. So take where would that go on that bullshit meter? Is that the first one or the second one or the third one? Where do you?
Well, I mean, there are a lot of people who still say he's real.
Yeah. Well, the interaction. To look at him, to watch him, to see the interaction. I mean, a lot of AIs, you'll see a regular hand movement, or you'll see regular something that looks regular. His is so much more natural, and it's actually kind of scary how good he is.
Yeah, it's I would say that's the best AI generation I've seen on a consistent basis. It's very, very good. Very, very good. All right, well, we've just about prattled away for an hour. What are your plans for the weekend, big fella?
Well, I want to try and do this show on a possible blockchain option that may be coming up, which actually involves AI and who is real and who is not on the blockchain. It's about a way of protecting the developers and the creators. So I'm going to be diving into that. So that may be something that's worth it, because that's an area in the market that's not being sort of covered at the moment. So there might be a possibility on that. So we'll discuss that on Coin Toss tomorrow night, providing I don't sleep all day. Outside of that, I'm going to try and get all the rest of these appointments booked. This week's been just mayhem with personal businesses and appointments that were already pre-made, etc. But yeah. So outside of that,
the next week will be a little easier for you.
Well, no, I just got told what one of my son's schedule are, and I'm taxi driver for 2 more days on that one. So plus March is not a good month for me. Right, they have to hold an election in March, because March is not a good month, because I have 3 children with their birthdays within 13 days of each other.
Well, nobody says you've got to go and buy a present for everybody voting.
I wasn't talking about that. I'm just talking about my children. 3 birthdays in 13 days. Okay. So,
well, we know about which time of the year you got lucky, don't we?
Anybody wants to do the maths on that, feel free. Well, it had nothing to do with election either. So maybe it was a rainy month. Yeah.
No, I'm thinking, no, there's a regular celebration 9 months prior there somewhere. We've just got to do the math and figure out what the party was.
Yeah.
All right, mate. Well, you have a bloody good one. Thank you for everything you do.
With that, I have to do the one and only thing that I can do now that he's tried to embarrass the shit out of me, and that's say, bye.
Love you, brother. You know that. And you too, folks. Love you too. Be safe. It's going to be a wet one in many places around the country this weekend, particularly in Queensland and New South Wales, in parts of South Australia, and I believe in parts of Victoria. It's going to be raining tomorrow. So if you are going to be out and about in it, be safe. The dickheads don't identify themselves, at least not until after the crash, and you don't want to be involved in that. Stay away from it at all costs. Be safe on the road. Avoid the dickheads. We'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.
You let one ant stand up to us, then they all might stand up.
Those puny little ants outnumber us 100 to 1. And if they ever figure that out, there goes our way of life.
It's not about food. It's about keeping those ants in line. That's why we're going back.
Does anybody else want to stay?
Let's rock!